So hello students, today we are going to start chapter number 2 of standard 7, that is fractions. Okay, now what are fractions? So fractions are nothing but a part of a whole. Okay, so now how to understand that what is a part and what is a whole? So let us consider that now here one circle is there in front of you. Suppose that this is nothing but a chapati. Is it clear? Now this circle represents a whole part, one full chapati we can say, or one full pizza is there present in front of you. Okay, so now this is full, means we can consider that it is a whole pizza. Now in this second figure I have divided this pizza into 4 parts. Okay, this is our first part, second part, third part and 4 parts. Okay, so in all of one full pizza, that is one whole pizza, how many parts I have made? So I have made 4 parts. Okay, so what can we say that now the number of parts, there are total parts of whole, means this whole part was there, this whole was there. Of this whole I made 4 parts. Okay, now let me color some of the parts of this whole. Okay, suppose now if I am coloring, this is first part, this is second part, okay, and this one is third part. So in all how many parts I have colored? So I have colored 3 parts. Okay, now how to represent that, how many parts I have colored? We can represent this one in terms of a fraction. Okay, so now first we have to decide that we are going to find fraction of what. So we are going to find fraction of colored part. Okay, so whose fraction we are going to find, that number we have to write it in numerator. Okay, so there are 3 parts colored, out of how much? So out of these 4 parts, 3 parts are colored, so the total parts we have to write it in denominator. Okay, and the required part we have to write it in numerator. So what is the fraction of the colored part? So 3/4 part are colored. In the same way we can write that how many parts are not colored. Okay, so for that again same condition we have to write first. Let me bring this figure over here. Okay, so now for this same figure, now suppose if I want to write what is the number of uncolored parts. Okay, so step by step let us write it. First we will write total parts. So what are total parts? So that is 4. Uncolored parts, that is 1. It can be seen that only one part is there which is not colored. Okay, now if I want to write the fraction of this uncolored part, so how to write it? Fraction of non-colored, or we can say that uncolored part, equals to, now in we have to write it in terms of a fraction. A fraction consists of a numerator and a denominator. In denominator we always write the total number of parts. So what is the total number of parts here? 4. So that we will write it in denominator. Now in numerator what we have to write? We have to write fraction of uncolored part. So how many uncolored parts are there? So there is only one uncolored part. So the fraction of uncolored parts is 1/4. Is it clear? So this means by fraction. Is it clear? Now let us see different types of a fraction. Okay, now our first type of fraction is proper fraction. Okay, now what is a proper fraction? Okay, so a proper fraction is a fraction in which numerator is always less than that of denominator. For example, so what I told, in proper fraction, what is the condition? Numerator is, we can say, either smaller or less than denominator. Okay, so now for example we can see that 2 upon 3. Now here we can see that the numerator is smaller than denominator, so this is an example of proper fraction. Let us consider another example, 5 upon 7. Again, numerator is smaller than the denominator. Okay, so these all are examples of proper fraction. Now let us see about next type of fraction, that is an improper fraction. Okay, now here what we have considered, proper fraction, numerator is smaller than denominator. In improper fraction, the numerator is either equal to equal or it is more than denominator. Okay, now let us consider some examples of an improper fraction. So what condition we have learned, that improper fraction numerator is equal or more than the denominator. For example, 10 upon 7. Now here numerator is greater, or we can say that more than that of denominator, so this is an example of improper fraction. Consider another example, 15 upon 8. Again same condition, numerator is greater than the denominator, so it is an example of improper fraction. Now we can always convert this improper fraction into a new type of fraction, which is known as mixed fraction. Okay, now a mixed fraction, what is a mixed fraction? So let us consider this example once again. So now example 10 upon 7. Now this 10 upon 7 can be written as, so I am writing its division over here. So we can write 7 ones are 7, remainder 3. Now what does it indicates? That this number, okay, this is whole part and this together will make a fraction part. How they are making? So we will write it as 1 3 upon 7. Okay, the remainder we have written here in numerator, dividend we have written, sorry, divisor we have written in denominator, and this quotient is our whole part. So a mixed fraction is what? It is a combination of a whole part and a fraction part. Is it clear? Okay, let us consider another example of this one. For example, suppose if we have 20 upon 3. Now we want to convert this. Remember that a mixed fraction always deals with an improper fraction. Now 10 upon 7, numerator is greater, so it is improper. 20 upon 3, numerator is greater, so it is improper. Okay, now we want to write this mixed improper fraction into mixed fraction. So how will we write? We will do our regular division for that one. Okay, simple procedure is by doing division. Now 3 6 are 18. Okay, so what is the remainder here? 2. So what will be our answer? Now what I told, that this quotient is our full part, that is whole part. So 6 we will write here, then this remainder it will come in numerator and this number will come in denominator. Okay, so what does it mean? That 20 upon 3 can be written as 6 full parts and 2/3 of the remaining part. Is it clear? So here what we have done, we have converted an improper fraction into a mixed fraction. So what is a mixed fraction? Okay, a mixed fraction consists of a whole part and a fraction. Okay, and mixed fraction can be always written from what? It is always written from an improper fraction. Unless the number is an improper fraction, we cannot convert it into a mixed fraction. So here we have learned how to convert an improper fraction into a mixed fraction. Now let us see next example, that is conversion of mixed fraction into improper fraction. For example, if you have a number that is 7 2 upon 3, now this is a mixed fraction. How to read it? 7 2 by 3. Okay, now I want to convert this mixed fraction into an improper. So what I have to do? Equals to, before that, make it clear what this 7 2 upon 3 means, that this 7 are whole part and this is 2/3 part of the remaining. Okay, so now I want to convert this one. For that, we will multiply this 3 with this 7. Okay, so there will be a multiplication between these two numbers, and whatever answer is there, that we are going to add with the numerator. Okay, so how to write it? We'll write it as 3 into 7, whatever number will be there, plus 2 divided by the same denominator as it is. Okay, so now as per the Bodmas rule, first we will do multiplication. Okay, so 3 7s are 21 plus 2 upon 3, so that equals to 23 upon 3. Okay, now here what we have done, we have converted an mixed fraction into an improper fraction. It can be seen that numerator is greater than denominator, means it is an example of improper fraction. Okay, now next type of fraction, let us see. Now next fraction is a decimal fraction. Okay, now what is a decimal fraction? So a decimal fraction, consider some example. 7 upon 10. Next example, 19 upon 100, then 5 upon 1000, and so on. Okay, so now what is a decimal fraction? So in a decimal fraction, the denominator is always in the form of 10, 100, 1000, and so on. Such a fraction is known as a decimal fraction. Okay, so let me write it here. In a decimal fraction, what is the condition? That is, denominator is either 10, 100, 1000, and so on up to any number. Okay, if it is in this form, then we can say that the given number is the given fraction is a decimal fraction. Okay, now next one, that is our next fraction is vulgar fraction. Okay, now what is a vulgar fraction? So the fraction whose denominator is not 10, 100, 1000 is known as vulgar fraction. For example, 3 upon 7. Now here denominator is 7, that is other than 10, 100, 1000, 10,000, lakh. So we can say that the given number is a vulgar fraction. Okay, another example, 5 upon 11. Okay, now here also denominator is what? Any number other than 10, 100, 1000, 10,000, and so on. So we will say that this number is a vulgar fraction. So what is a vulgar fraction? It is a fraction whose denominator is other than 10, 100, 1000, and so on. Is it clear? Okay, then our next type of fraction is like fraction. Okay, now like fraction. So like fractions are the fractions which are having same denominator but different numerators. So what is the condition? That if a fraction is having same denominator, we will say that it is an like fraction. For example, 2 upon 5, 3 upon 5. Now both these fractions are having same denominator, that is 5. So we can say that these both are like fraction. Okay, let us consider another example. 7 upon 10, 12 upon 10. Now again, these both fractions, okay, they are having same denominator. Sorry, let this be 2 upon 10. Now both these fractions are having same denominator, so we can say that they are like fractions. Okay, so now, so what is the condition for a fraction to be a like fraction? They should have same denominator. Okay, now our last topic for today is unlike fraction. Okay, so if like means same denominator, so unlike means different denominator. Okay, so what is the definition of an unlike fraction? These are the fractions which are having different denominators. Okay, for example, 2 upon 3, 7 upon 8. Okay, now in this both the fraction, okay, first denominator is 3 and another denominator is 8, so these both are having different denominators, so they are known as unlike fraction. Okay, so this much is enough for today. Thank you, have a nice day.